Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me in this afternoon. It's hot inside, but you found a solution. Good. Um, let's get started. And this afternoon, we want to start with who, the golden circle for learning design. That's what I will be talking about with you. And maybe you thought, hey, it sounds familiar because I know this guy Simon Sinek, who has this good book and video about Start with Why. So who's a fan of Simon Sinek? Okay. And who's a fan of Start with Why? And the golden circle. So this is his golden circle, and he says it's a very simple approach, a very useful approach on an organizational level if you want to see what you can do for your customers, if you want to focus on your leadership, etc., then the golden circle is very useful. And Simon Sinek says, okay, each corporation, each company should start with clarifying their why, then their how and what. So I thought, hey, would this be useful also for learning and development and for learning design? And I think it is in general, but I also think we can have a bit of a closer look, more close to the people who have to do the work and have to learn all the time, and see if we can find a golden circle for learning design. And why would that be important or useful? Well, we entered this age where we have all kind of tools available for doing our job, for doing our work, and while we have these new tools available, these new digital tools, we also like to be them very useful, that we have a great user experience while applying them and using them to get our job done. So user experience has become a main center of attention in all kind of digital tools. So if we translate that and people create new awareness and create new ideas about, hey, if I want to get my job done, I also want a good user experience. So also when people need to learn, they really like to have a good learner experience. So it's a general movement, user experience more in the center, and that's why it's also good to look at learner experience to get that more in the center of our attention. Learner experience, it starts with empathy. So start with who is that you first try to understand who you want to serve, who you want to support. And so it starts first with understanding, doing your best, empathize with the people who have to do the work and how you can help them. So I really like this picture. It's an amazing picture, I think, and it gets me so curious about who is this person and what is the story behind this person. So for me, this one provokes empathy. And empathy is what we need for learner experience design. Another way to look at it is you could say, okay, if we want to support our people while learning or while getting their job done in an easier, smarter way, it's also put yourself in someone else's shoes. Take their perspective and see what is it that they have to solve, what is it that they have on their plates to get the results out, to be effective, to be successful. So after we started with the who, then we can build our golden circle for learning design. And the next step is the what. We have to connect the who with the what, because only understanding a person and his or her perspective is one part, but we also have to know what kind of jobs, what kind of tasks does this person has on his or her plate and might be struggling with. So that's the what. And suggestion is to create a learner profile. And a learner profile is adapted from the customer profile. It's a guy called Mr. Osterwalder who had this idea about customer profile. And he says, okay, first we know who we are looking at, then we have to understand what kind of, in this case, learner jobs does this person has on his or her plate. to work on and to try to be successful in. And with these tasks on their plate, they might hope to get some gains, of course, but they might also experience some pains. And if we can understand for their situation what the gains are that they try to achieve, and also what the pains are that they experience right now, then the picture becomes a bit more clearer. And then we have the two circles of the golden circle, the what and the who, and the who and the what. As you can see, I choose the word learner profile, but that's a pitfall, because if we focus too early on learners, then we focus with our mindset on, hey, this is a person who has to learn something. We should take a step back and first find out, hey, this is a person who has to do a job, who has to perform. This person is not per se a learner, it's a professional trying to get his or her job done. So don't jump too much, too quickly, too often into learner, but suggestion is connect the who with the what by shifting your focus from learner to professional. Then there are different type of jobs, and maybe we tend to look at jobs in a more analytical way, but it's also good to understand the situation from different perspectives, and that's why we can have a look at different types of job on the plate of professionals. First, we have functional jobs. It's easy, it's logic. You have to create output. What kind of output can be anything, and the rational idea about what you have to deliver as a professional. But there's more behind, because there are also social jobs at the workplace. It's not only about delivering output, it's also a social system that we are working in. And so there are also aspects about status. How does this job provide me maybe status? Or how can it strengthen, or is it at risk for my reputation? So we also should take in account, and that's also a part of empathy, what are the social jobs included in the situation of this person, of this professional. And then there are personal and emotional jobs. That's about experience. How do you like your job? What parts of the job do you like and gives you energy, makes you happy? And what other parts of the job do you dislike and don't make you happy? It's also part of the analysis, of the understanding, what is the exact job of the people that we try to serve, to support. And connected to these three types of jobs, we should try to explore all the pains and the gains related to these jobs, and then we get a broader picture of the whole situation. And then the next step is, nobody works on an island. There is always a context, and the context can be very important. So after these two steps, we have to include the where. Where is the place that this professional has to deliver the job? That can be very different and difficult situations. So context is king, and it would be good if we try to understand and know about the context where people have to perform their jobs. And I'm happy, still proud, that I worked a few years for a Japanese company, Fuji. And the first thing I learned, and I always remembered that, always try to apply that, they always said, go to Gamba. Go to Gamba, first time, so, a strange word, what does it mean? It's very simple. Go to Gamba means go where the work is done. So I worked for training and development department over there. And when there was an issue, when there was a struggle or whatever, first thing that you did, go to Gamba, go to the place where the work was done, and difficult situation was at hand, and see for yourself what the situation is. Talk to people and understand the specific situation. So that's the where part. That's the third part of our golden circle for learning design. So, 3 parts, but okay, Simon Sinek gave you 3 circles, I will provide you 4. This one is a picture of a page in this book, and it helps to put it all together. And I know it's a detailed picture with lots of information in it, but I thought it would be good and useful to take the original picture of Mr. Ramble and Brace about the performance system. And they say, okay, if we have the performer in the middle, we should be aware of everything that we just analyzed in the previous steps, but we can also have a look at the performance specifications. Take the broader picture, say, at step 1, what is the situation around performance specification? How clear is it for the performer what he or she has to do, has to perform? The second one is the task support. How well is the workplace designed? How good are the tools, the processes that you are available to do your job? How well is your input? Because you might have heard about garbage in, garbage out. If you want to create good output, but you have bad input, it will be very hard to create good output. Then the third one is the consequences. If I do my job as expected, how do I experience it? Is it nice for me to do so? Do I feel rewarded or not? So are the consequences positive, related to the tasks and to the output that people want me to do? And then, do I get feedback from my peers, from my boss, from any system that I work on? And if I get feedback, is it relevant, accurate, timely, specific, early to understand? So if there is no feedback at all, how should I be aware of how I'm doing, if I'm on the right track? The fifth one, skills and knowledge. Do I have the right skills and knowledge to perform the task? And the sixth, individual capacity. Am I able, mentally, physically, to perform the task at all? That's only 1% of situations where that doesn't match. So if we look at learning and providing support via learning, there's only one category, that's skills and knowledge, that will help to support professionals in the workplace. If they lack skills or knowledge, then training could be useful. For the other parts, we need communication with managers. We need good consequences. We need a good system, good workflow, good input, good tools, etc. Feedback, we need a good system for feedback to get the job done. So this is putting it all together, and that helps us then to find out the last step, how? How can we support the professionals in the workplace? And like I said before, we can help them with training, learning, etc. if there is a lack of knowledge or skills. If there are other problems going on, then we should deliver them other types of performance support. And that's why we need to understand all the previous steps before, the who, the what, the where, and the how. Okay, let's make it a bit more concrete. Some cases. This is a situation from financial professionals after the financial crisis. A lot of financial professionals had to pass additional exams because there were new regulations, and if you want to be relevant, if you want to have a license to operate, in fact, then you should take the exam and show, okay, I know all the previous and I know all the new regulations, I understand them and I can apply them. So that's a hell of a job, and that needed a lot of attention in training, support, whatever. So this is an example of first approach with more traditional learning approach, only learning approach, and say, okay, we have this amount of people, we don't start with who, but with what, the content. What is the content people have to manage, have to know, and then we build a lot of modules, push everybody through the system and see what comes out. Well, that went rather well because almost 5,000 professionals did almost 10,000 e-learning modules with a success rate of more than 90%. That's a successful story. It would cost them 11 hours to do so. When having a fresh look at it and making a different approach, say, okay, who, starting with who? Who are these professionals? Understanding better their background, etc. There came another solution with an adaptive learning solution. Said, okay, now we have more than 5,000 learners, more than 10,000 modules, but because it's an adaptive learning solution, you would only get those parts that would be relevant for you. If the system would know after you took a short test, hey, you are at the right level for this and this and this part, then you could skip much of the content, and so then you only needed in general 4.5 hours. So it meant some young people or some people who came in the industry first time, they needed more than 11 hours, but some other people who were very experienced in their work, they could maybe do with 3 hours or with 2 hours or maybe less. And that's, I guess, an example of learner experience design, that you are aware of the situation and that you create solutions that are relevant, that are useful, that have meaning to the people that you want to support. And here is a small text. It says, just for me resulted in higher learner engagement. People don't dislike e-learning, they dislike irrelevant e-learning. If they say, I understand why I have to do it, and I understand why it's useful for me, and it's important for me, then they say, okay, come on, let me do it. As long as it's relevant, as it makes sense to me. Not just clicking stuff that I already know and have known for many years. Rail Center, another case. They provide programs for people who work at the rail. Recreated their program. It's a program around safety. If you want to work on the rails, it's often at night when there are not that many trains. So being safe at the workplace is very important at the railways. And so this is an example of the guys and the girls who are responsible for keeping safety at the workplace while working at the rail. This was the original, original approach and design. So they had 7 days of classroom training, then practice on the job, and then some kind of certification day, got certified. They didn't like it. I have to go away 7 days from my job. Okay, it's kind of nice, and the lunch is okay, but it's quite extensive, the time that I need. So they redesigned the program and said, okay, we will make it an on-the-job approach, an on-the-job learning and performance support approach. When you want to be a safety leader, okay, you can enter the program, and you can only enter the program if you bring a coach, a senior manager who says, yes, I like to coach you in this program. If not, sorry, maybe next time. So you were connected to a coach, and then first you had some online learning for preparation. You planned with your coach together, said, okay, I will take this lesson, try to gather this type of knowledge, to explore these kind of checklists, these kind of work procedures, etc. And then after that, on the workplace, said, okay, this night we have to do our job. This is a specific task that you prepared yourself for. Now you are in charge. Do it, and you will do it under my supervision. If it's not okay, I will help you, I will coach you, I will guide you, give you extra information, whatever you need. If it's okay, if I have the evidence that you can manage this job, then you get certified for this job, and so on. So that led to a very different approach of small lessons and only 6 to 10 week program with small steps of pre-certification to add up to a whole certification at the end. And then this one, fire learning, exciting, and already was so hot in this room, but okay. Still some firefighters, they have to train in buildings that are on fire, because they have to be prepared for that specific situation. And so there are specific on-site training situations, special houses that you can put on fire and that you can use to do on-the-job training in this situation, kind of simulation for firefighters. First, they invited the people, come over to this special place and we will do some theory, and then after 1 hour of theory and getting to know each other, you will enter the burning house and then apply what you learned in the first hour. And then we will review, learn, reflect, etc. Then they changed this to another design, said, okay, wait a minute, it's very important that firefighters know each other and trust each other. So can't we build trust before a bit more than just start at that day? And so they did by social learning. So they invited the firefighters who would join each other in the burning house before that event with social learning, provided them exercises on social learning, on a platform with social learning technology in it. So they started to share ideas, experience, questions, etc. with each other. So they knew each other from the online preparation much better when they started at site with the burning house. And it was a big difference. So when they came over at the burning house, it was the burning house situation. It was, hey, oh, that's you. Oh, nice to meet you, etc. So there had been some bonding before, and it was much easier, much more effective also on team side of the training when they entered the burning house. And of course, this is a situation always if you hope that people from firefighter, etc., don't have to apply what they learned. At the other hand, if the situation is there, they have to apply what they have learned. So there was also a memo trainer retention tool included for the most practical and most important things that they really had to know. Okay, that were 3 cases that I would like to share with you, and there are a few minutes left, so if you want to ask questions, please do so, and otherwise you can also later on visit our stand. There are some colleagues over here, most of them wear this logo of our company, and they are happy to explain a bit more to you. But maybe for now, first, thank you for your attention, and please ask your questions. Yes, the first follower is a leader in itself. Wow, thank you, sir. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Hi, my name is Tom Gordon from the Big Word. I'm an e-learning specialist, and seeing all this, I guess the way you looked at the problem and deconstructed it it'll help me a lot for what I'd like to do, and probably come and talk to you guys and get some guidance, and yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then thank you. Good luck, and I hope you can apply the golden circle for learning design, and it will bring you gold one way or another in your professional career. Good luck with that.